If the free yoga videos on YouTube actually worked, you'd already be this calm, flexible, and disciplined person. Instead, you ended up clicking on this video after drowning in endless options, frustrated, distracted, and still struggling to find real lasting peace. Before you decide, okay, maybe yoga just isn't for me, stick with me because today I'm going to reveal why free yoga videos might be sabotaging your progress and what actually works for busy minds like ours. I'm Sushmita, but you can call me Sushi, and I grew up in India and I trained directly under the late Sharad Joyce. He was the lineage holder of the Ashtanga tradition, and I studied in Mysore and I learned in the traditional, authentic Mysore style of practice. And I realized why our brains literally can't find peace when we're always like following someone else's cues. So if you're ready to break free from this follow along dependency and actually build a self practice, then put me on full screen. I won't be long. And if you need some help making this transformation, set up a call using the link below. But before that, let's get your body and your mind out of that crowded nightclub where there's so much noise and into a quiet corner where they can actually have a deep conversation. Have you ever just opened up a YouTube video and thought, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to feel a little bit calmer, but once you roll out your mat and you press play, the instructor is just shooting off these cues and you end up feeling more stressed than when you started. All these decisions of like, which video should you choose? Which level should you choose? Are you doing it right? Like all of these decisions just add up. And even before you begin, the decision fatigue is just so much. And you end up feeling like a failure. You close the tab or you try and find something and like 15 minutes is gone. If that's you, I want you to really hear this. It's not your fault. It's really not your fault. You've been sold this broken model, and the whole yoga world believes that led classes or follow along classes are the only way to do yoga. Like there's an instructor on screen showing you what to do, and you just copy it and you do the exact same thing. When in fact, where I studied in Mysore traditionally, it was never taught this way. And the only reason they had to make it this way was because like they had more and more number of people coming in and there was literally no floor space. People were practicing in the bathroom. And then they said, okay, once a week, we're going to get everyone to remember the sequence, to practice at the same pace, and to also like, scale it and have everyone come to that same standard instead of practicing alone. But traditionally, where I studied, it was entirely this Mysore style of practice. I'm going to talk about it in a little while. But basically, it was never led classes. It's only in the last like 15, 20 years that people have started seeing yoga as this led class format where there's a teacher guiding you and then you follow it. So that's the first thing. You've been sold a broken model, so don't expect yourself to kind of like, get on the mat and know what to do. Because what would you do? Would you do like one day for hips, one day for your hamstrings? You don't know what to do because you haven't been educated or you haven't been taught what to do. And the problem is, especially for people like us, where we have extremely busy minds and like, our minds are all over the place, it's really hard to follow instructions, especially when you can't even hear your own thoughts clearly. If there's too much overwhelm and there's too much happening upstairs, then just the very noise, just the fact that there's so much happening means that you can't add in any more cues. Like adding in any more cues or listening to the instructor, regardless of how good they are, even if they're the best in the world, it doesn't actually help us like identify and address the root problem of why we're feeling dysregulated and unable to listen to these cues. So the first step is just to label it, to see what's happening inside. And it's not that you're broken, it's not that you have a brain that can't listen to, YouTube yoga or whatever, or that you just have to find a better teacher or a different style. It's just that your body and mind are unable to talk to each other. There's just a simple disconnection. So let's call it what it is. There is a mind-body disconnection, and we're going to address it through this ancient, authentic style of Mysore style practice. Now, I do want to say before you even do this, there is a time when led classes or this kind of guided style really works. And it works when you already have that mind-body conversation happening. It already works when you're in this zone where, you've practiced for 4 or 5 times a week, you've already awakened that inner teacher. And then, when you try a class by someone who's world-class teacher, you can use those cues as like more chances for inner refinement. But if you're in this state, let's worry about where you are right now. Think of it like this highway, like your intellect or your buddhi is trying to give your body this single instruction to lift the toe, let's say. Now, this message that the intellect is sending to your body is blocked by all the stuff that the mind has to do in that moment. So it's worrying about how much time you have, it's worrying about the dirty pile of laundry, it's worrying about the to-do list, the conversation. And so the highway between your intellect and your body is just completely jammed. There's such a big traffic jam that the message is just not coming through. And if you try and give it more cues, if you try and send more cars to get to that, to that end of the road, you're just going to jam it up more. You're just going to clog up the highway more, and you're not going to get the message across. So you'll notice, even if you're following, someone who is fantastic, the sound is playing and the visual is on your TV, but you can't really listen to them, you can't really hear their cues, and you'll feel like even for a few minutes, you can't just stay on the mat and you just want to leave, you just want to do something else. So think of it like this. It's like telling a small kid, sit in a quiet corner and don't do anything, when all he or she wants to do is get up and jump and go out and play. So this is what's happening to your mind. And even though we occupy adult bodies now, it's still that part of us that can't just sit still and be told what to do and follow. So the mind and body aren't on the same page. And when your mind and body aren't on the same page, just accept your body is not ready to be controlled yet. So don't force it. Don't get it to comply. Don't, use your willpower to just force it. Just respect it and acknowledge that there will come a time when you are on the same page. But for now, even trying is just going to be a waste of time. So for the time being, all you're going to do is acknowledge, and don't try to look for a simpler class on YouTube or try a different teacher or force yourself to have more energy or try something else. The solution isn't to keep sending more information on this highway. It's actually to let this traffic pass, let the cars one by one pass, so that whatever new message that you're trying to send can actually go to the body. Now, in our real physical bodies, we have this ability to place our attention on a single physical part. So let's say you're folding forward and you're trying to touch your toes. Now, instead of thinking, okay, I need to go lower, I need to be able to hold my toes and pull up, instead of doing all of that, why don't you just place your attention on your big toe? Give your mind the single task of looking at how shiny your toenail is because of your new nail polish, or how much you can press down through your big toe. And so directly by placing our attention on specific parts of the body, we give ourselves these concrete, tangible tasks. And slowly by the end of the class, you'll notice by just doing one thing, by just letting one car pass, one at a time, you'll notice that you start to awaken this inner refinement, and you won't feel as disconnected anymore. And this is the goal of the practice. Ultimately, what we want to have is this place of mind-body connection, and that's what the practice is there for. But if we end up doing things that are worsening it instead of helping it, then, we're just going to spend 20-30 minutes on the mat, feel more frustrated, and be like, yoga is not for me. So this peace and this mental stillness and this quietness that you've been looking for, they come as a consequence of having this freedom from our thoughts. But to have freedom from our thoughts, first, we must acknowledge that sometimes there's too many thoughts occupying the mind, and so we have to do something different. And this is where the Mysore style of practice, where, that's what I was trained in, and this is how I also teach inside my Yoga Mastery program. It's that you do the same set sequence of postures, but you do it from memory. So you don't follow someone else. You follow yourself. So in Mysore, it was never there was a teacher that was demonstrating and you're the one copying them. You're not even using your own, inner guide. You're just kind of monkey see, monkey do. It's a self-guided practice. And when you learn the sequence once, then the magic starts to happen when you come on the mat and you stop listening to the external world. You stop listening to all the external noise, and you start honing in on your own voice. And neurologically, this is such a cool phenomenon because it shifts your brain from this external attention mode to actually this internal attention mode where you're focusing inwards, and that's where the calm really happens. So even if you're in the best led class in the world, you're still going to be distracted by your attention moving outwards rather than what it's actually supposed to do, which is move your attention inwards. And I can't blame you for this, because we live in a world where we are constantly seeking novelty. How many times have you actually done the same YouTube video that you did 5 years ago? we just want to look for, like, even from the same teacher, we want to look for new classes to try, new things to do. And even if we do it twice, we're like already bored with it and we want something new. So I want you to kind of starve off this tendency for a bit and focus on just one sequence, because when you focus on one sequence, our brains, especially because we have such crazy, overwhelmed minds, it actually loves repetition, and repetition is like a medicine for our busy minds. And whenever we try new things, then there's this layer of complexity that we're adding. And this is also why within my yoga mastery program, even though like I could have done like 60 classes and different like, different variations, I actually distilled it down. And this was the hardest part for me while I was creating it, was to actually do the bare minimum and get people to repeat and rewire until that sense of like, oh yeah, I've actually done this and I can do this from memory starts to arise. And whether it's like teaching high school kids or like, really busy professionals, this approach has worked really well for me, because I realized each time you come to the practice, you are a different person. You're not the same person with the same mood or the same body or the same energy level every time you step on the mat. So I can tell you this, like I've seen this and I've even tracked like 100 students going through this exact same sequence. And I can tell you that like those that actually managed to shift to this self-guided practice had like 73% more consistency and like 85% more higher satisfaction, because even if they were beginners, they still had the satisfaction that they could do it on their own and they could do it anywhere without like needing to come to a class or needing to switch on a video. It was much more like, I'm empowered now. And you can do that very, very well, even within like 6 weeks. This is why inside the program, I have people go through a set sequence of postures. And whenever they learn it fully, that's when they mark as complete on the app. And the reason I do this is because to distill down these decisions, like in the morning, you don't need to think about all these things. You just need to know, what do I need to do today? Pick one sequence and just start. Let's say you're going to do 10 sun salutations, then just do 10 sun salutations for this whole week. And I want you to learn it by heart without needing to look at a video or like go anywhere else and see anything else. Just really learn it through memory and then practice it daily. So the same time in the same place, you're going to practice those same 10 sun salutations if that's what you picked, until your body gets used to it. And then you're going to focus on the internal sensations. So how does this pose feel from the inside? Don't worry about how it looks on the outside, because especially when you're overwhelmed and you're trying to follow a video, you're looking for something that will help you just feel again instead of keep like thinking. And the only way to disrupt those thoughts is to come into the sensations, to come into the way that your body feels grounded. And then you're going to start to stretch the breath. Now, this is the hardest part because a lot of us never quite get to this point. But if you can ground yourself enough to just feel your feet, feel your fingers, and then come into your sensations and feel your breath, then by stretching your breath, you can't possibly stay in those thoughts. You can't possibly be thinking about dinner. So resist novelty. Don't try and in this point where you feel like, oh, I can't stretch my breath, I need to do something different, I need to do breath work, or I need to do a yoga nidra or something else different. Just stick to the same sequence. And this is part of the tapas. This is part of what you have to sacrifice in order to make real true progress. And then I want you to actually track your progress. I want you to see over a course of a few weeks, how does this actually feel in your body? Does this repetition become boring and mundane? Are you not able to find new things to work on? Or is it that, this style, this kind of thing just isn't working for you and you actually need to be challenged more and you need different varieties of things to feel like you've had a good practice. So the point is, don't do a yoga video on YouTube whenever you feel overwhelmed. There's a time and place for that when you already have that conversation happening. And even after listening to this whole thing, if you think, oh yeah, I'm still not able to commit to yoga because there's literally so much for free, then I just want you to think about this. Yoga was, I think, one of the most well-searched terms during COVID. And there was a huge surge of people just looking for yoga on YouTube. And I had a student who came to me and they were like, yeah, I started yoga in the pandemic and I've been doing yoga on YouTube. It's amazing. I try all these different things. And I'm like, but have you been seeing any real progress? Have you really been seeing shifts in the way you feel during the day? And he said to me, he was like, actually, you know what? You're right. I don't even think of yoga as a thing that I can improve in. And this is where we need to start to shift our mindset, because we've been sold a lie. In the true Mysore style method, every day is like an opportunity for a breakthrough because you're listening to yourself. But this transformation, this real transformation where you're going from led classes to self-guided classes, it requires commitment. And that commitment has to come from within. It has to come from like some part of you saying, you know what, I'm actually tired of relying on someone else to tell me what to do, and I want to do it myself. Because even that guy who came to me, he said, yeah, it's free, I can afford it, I'm doing it. And I was like, 5 years you've been doing this with no real progress? To me, that seemed like a really incredibly expensive free practice. So then I told him a little bit about, the psychology of investment. I said, like, whenever you just do something on YouTube, it has really like no weight. It has no gravity in your life. There's no consequences. But then when you actually invest in something, when you actually like some amount of money is going out of your bank account every single month, then some part of you wants to show up differently. And it's not just about the money. This is more about like your psychological investment in the thing. And when you can shift yourself from the state of, yoga is just like some hobby, something I do when I want to stretch, you actually start to see it as, oh, I need to make time for this practice because you have skin in the game. Somebody is leaving your bank account every month. And no amount of like free yoga videos can ever create that kind of powerful accountability. And more importantly, you need feedback. You need to know if what you're doing is right or wrong. And that's why I want to invite you to join my Yoga Mastery program, where you learn this authentic Mysore style of practice. But I won't just make you do Mysore style practice like everyone else in the world, where you just walk into a shala and they expect you to know everything. I actually take you through this step by step. There's a portion of time where I'm actually guiding you through this through like private sessions, and then I make you do a curriculum, and then you join the group classes for a whole year where there's a supportive community and you get my direct guidance. And to me, this is how you build consistency, but in an authentic way that doesn't make you like, reliant on anyone else. So if you don't want to spend one more day just, deciding what to do on the mat or feeling disconnected, then book a call with me. And if you found value in today's video, please remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is a small channel that I'm trying to grow. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. And just remember, the difference between information and implementation is actual commitment. Make that commitment to yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.